was bigger in life, Americana kind of deal, and then obviously, gets caught on tape, saying some derogatory racist thing.
The Undertaker has never been one to cause drama, but when he finally broke his silence on Hulk Hogan, even die-hard WWE fans were stunned. In a rare unfiltered revelation, the dead man exposed the real reason he believed Hogan should have been banned from WWE altogether, and it was darker and more personal than anyone imagined. When the wrestling world learned of Hulk Hogan's passing on July 24, 2025, tributes poured in from across the industry. Legends, current superstars, and fans alike mourned the loss of one of the most recognizable figures professional wrestling has ever produced. Amid the outpouring of grief and celebration of Hogan's accomplishments, one voice stood out for its measured, almost calculating tone, that of the Undertaker Mark Calaway himself. The Undertaker's tribute was characteristically brief, posted to Instagram shortly after the news broke. The full text read simply, "The wrestling world has lost a true legend. His contributions to our business are immeasurable, and for that I am appreciative. Thank you, Hulk Hogan." To the casual observer, these words might seem like a standard respectful acknowledgement of a fallen peer, but to those who followed the complex, often contentious relationship between these two titans of the squared circle, the statement carried weight far beyond its simple phrasing. What the Undertaker did not say spoke volumes. There were no personal stories, no warm memories of shared moments, no emotional declarations of brotherhood that characterized so many other tributes. Ric Flair, by contrast, wrote extensively about Hogan visiting him in the hospital when Flair had only a 2% chance of survival, about Hogan lending him money when his son Reed was sick, and calling him an incredible athlete, talent, friend, and father whose friendship meant the world to him. The Undertaker's tribute was professional, distant, almost perfunctory, and perhaps that was exactly what it needed to be, because the history between these two men, both in and out of the ring, tells a story of friction, frustration, and fundamental disagreement about what it means to be a professional wrestler. But it was in the aftermath of Hogan's death, when The Undertaker felt comfortable speaking more candidly, that the real depth of his feelings became clear. When Hulk Hogan stepped onto the stage at WWE Raw's Netflix debut on January 6, 2025, something unprecedented happened in the world of professional wrestling. The crowd at the Intuit Dome in Englewood, California, did not erupt in cheers for the legendary Hulkamania icon. Instead, they unleashed a torrent of boos so loud and so sustained that it drowned out everything Hogan tried to say about his real American beer brand. This was not just a bad night for a wrestling legend, it was the culmination of years of controversy, broken trust, and unresolved scandals that had finally caught up with one of wrestling's biggest names. But perhaps no one's reaction to that moment was more telling than that of the Undertaker Mark Calaway, a man who had his own complicated history with Hogan stretching back over 3 decades. When Taker addressed the incident on his 6 Feet Under podcast on February 3, 2025, his words carried the weight of someone who had witnessed Hogan's rise, his reign, and now his reckoning, and what he had to say was not pretty.
I got feelings for people, like sometimes in life, things come.
This was not the compassionate Undertaker offering sympathy to a fallen colleague. It was something far more pointed, a suggestion that karma had finally arrived at Hogan's doorstep. On his podcast, co-hosted with guest Justin, the Body Donut, The Undertaker elaborated on the moment. The layers of this complicated relationship began to unfold in ways that revealed not just personal tension, but a deeper reckoning with what Hulk Hogan represented in professional wrestling. According to The Undertaker, the immediate backstage reaction to Hogan's booing was telling in its own right.
When I saw him, he was no-selling it and pushing his beer. I didn't see him. I wasn't backstage when he came.
The word no-selling carries particular significance in wrestling terminology. It refers to when a wrestler refuses to acknowledge or react to an opponent's moves, breaking the illusion of the match. That The Undertaker used this term to describe Hogan's reaction to the crowd's rejection was no accident. It was a direct callback to one of the most infamous incidents in their shared history, and suggested that even after all these years, Hogan was still playing the same game, refusing to acknowledge reality when it did not suit his narrative. When the podcast host pressed The Undertaker on whether he felt sympathy for Hogan, or whether he wanted to comfort him after such public humiliation, the dead man's response was unequivocal.
Did you feel bad for him? No.
What? Hey man, I got feelings for people, like sometimes in life, things come.
But what came next cut to the heart of the matter. The Undertaker did not simply dismiss Hogan's suffering. He placed it within a broader pattern of behavior that had alienated fans, estranged fellow wrestlers, and ultimately harmed the business itself.
Bigger in life, Americana kind of deal, and then obviously, you know, gets caught on tape, you know, saying some derogatory, racist things, and you know, in this day and age where all of that is such a hot button deal, like I don't know what you expect. Like people are gonna, you know, they're gonna react, and they're not gonna react in a positive.
This was a direct reference to the 2015 scandal that shattered Hogan's carefully crafted image. A leaked audio recording from a 2007 sex tape revealed Hogan using racial slurs, including the N-word, while discussing his daughter Brooke's dating life. He expressed discomfort about her reportedly dating a black man and stated, "I am a racist to a point." The fallout was immediate and severe. WWE terminated Hogan's contract and removed him from the Hall of Fame in July 2015. But The Undertaker's criticism went beyond the racism scandal. He pointed to a phenomenon modern wrestling fans know all too well: the erosion of kayfabe, the protective barrier between the scripted world of wrestling and reality.
Yeah, they need to have access now to everything, and they do, and then they get to hear people's interviews, and so yeah, they kind of feel like they're part of that locker room. And this was somebody that was, you know, regardless of where he's at now, you know, they kind of carry a grudge. Yeah.
This observation touched on something profound about Hogan's downfall. In the old days of wrestling, performers could maintain their mystique and keep their personal failings hidden behind carefully managed public personas. But in the age of podcasts, shoot interviews, social media, and 24/7 news cycles, fans came to know the real Terry Bollea, not just the Hulk Hogan character, and they didn't like what they saw. For The Undertaker, the contrast between Hogan's reception and his own warm welcome that same night was striking. While Hogan was booed mercilessly, The Undertaker entered to his American Badass theme and received massive cheers. Both men are politically conservative and both publicly supported Donald Trump, yet the crowd's reaction to each could not have been more different. What did that say about the nature of their respective legacies? O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son, and comedian Eric Andre, who were in the crowd that night, later explained their booing as a stand against racism. Jackson tweeted, "The racism, bro. It's just hard to forget how detailed that rant was. What did you think was going to happen?" This moment crystallized what many already felt, that Hogan's transgression wasn't just a mistake, but a glimpse into deeply held beliefs that couldn't easily be forgiven or forgotten. The Undertaker's response to it all revealed something essential about his own moral compass. He didn't hide behind false sympathy or corporate platitudes. He simply acknowledged reality.
Come back before, yeah, since all of the stuff with his, you know, his daughter and all the racial stuff and all that, he's came back and he's got positive.
This observation underscored that the Netflix booing wasn't just about old scandals. It was about accumulated grievances, a pattern of behavior that had worn down public patience. Hogan had been reinstated into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2018 after attempts at redemption, including public apologies and outreach efforts with young people. But those gestures clearly weren't enough to repair the damage. The podcast segment, which quickly went viral with millions of views across multiple platforms, reignited debates about accountability, redemption, and whether certain actions should permanently bar someone from the spotlight. When celebrities like O'Shea Jackson Jr. and Eric Andre stood up in the crowd to boo, and when wrestlers like Seth Rollins said on Good Morning Football, "I am all for people getting what they deserve," they were making a statement about standards and consequences. But The Undertaker's perspective added another layer to this conversation, one grounded in decades of personal experience with Hogan, both inside and outside the ring. His laughter at Hogan's discomfort wasn't born of cruelty. It was the reaction of someone who had watched a man's ego and politics harm the wrestling business and the people within it for years. And to truly understand why The Undertaker laughed at Hulk Hogan's 2025 humiliation, you have to go back to November 27, 1991. Survivor Series at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan, when one of the most controversial moments in their shared history unfolded, and Hogan no-sold the future.
1 year anniversary with the company. I wrestled none of it. The Golden Goose. The star, the moneymaker, the big dude. I'm going to go over. I'm going to win the championship. I'm walking down the hall, just going to my locker room. He goes, "Hey, brother, can I talk to you?"
This was the night that should have catapulted The Undertaker into superstardom. Instead, it became a masterclass in how a top star can undermine a rising talent for the sake of his own ego, and it created a wound that would never fully heal. On paper, the setup was perfect. The Undertaker, only a year into his iconic gimmick, would challenge Hulk Hogan for the WWF Championship in the event's first-ever singles main event. The storyline pitted Hogan's heroic Hulkamania against The Undertaker's supernatural menace, billed as the gravest challenge. The finish was meant to be dramatic yet protective for both men. Ric Flair would interfere by sliding a steel chair into the ring, allowing The Undertaker to deliver a devastating tombstone piledriver onto it for the pinfall, crowning him the new WWF champion and shocking the wrestling world.
I'm really nervous about taking the tombstone. I got this bad neck. Look, I promise you, I'll take great care of you. Don't worry about it. So we're going to do a match. Now it's time to finish. Finish is where I'm going to tombstone him on the chair.
But what happened backstage would poison the relationship between the two men forever. According to multiple sources and The Undertaker's own recollections, Hogan allegedly no-sold several of The Undertaker's moves during the match, making it appear to the crowd and commentators that the dead man had botched a spot and legitimately injured him.